When it comes to money, the rich have a habit of doing things differently. We pretty much know that they make a habit of investing wisely, and that they focus on building wealth, rather than accumulating possessions just for the sake of it. But an often forgotten building block in their wealth is that they are also very cognizant of the expenses they avoid. From unnecessary purchases to overpriced services, there are things that the wealthy just know to stay away from, or at least minimize as much as possible. Let's get into 9 expenses that the rich avoid like the plague. Number 1. Shopping impulsively. We all love to shop. Who doesn't? For example, when we see a coat or a suit that appeals to us, we want to buy it. Especially if it's on a discount, and we know that we can probably wear it or use it in some way. But rich people are very aware of their shopping habits. They are able to distinguish when they are shopping for fun, and when they are shopping because they actually need something. Rich people find ways to stick to their shopping agenda, or to only shop when they actually need something. It's rare to see them shopping without a list, or at least a very clear idea of what they want to buy. By doing this, they avoid the "I may not need this right now, but I might one day" mindset that causes so many people to constantly shop and spend without thought. Number 2. Gambling and playing games of chance. Gambling and doing other similar things like buying lottery tickets are something that the rich are rational enough to avoid. Of course, they may partake in some visits to the casino now and again, as a leisure activity. But they do so with the full awareness or mindset that they are playing with money that they can afford to lose. They recognize that despite the potential for a large payout, the odds of success are always heavily stacked against them. It may not seem like much, but regular gambling, even with small amounts, can be a drain on expenses, and is taking away from money that could potentially have been used for saving or growing wealth. In addition to this, the emotional and psychological effects of gambling can be incredibly costly. Rich people understand that it is not worth the risk of losing money, wasting time, and getting addicted. Number 3. Paying credit card interest. Credit card interest is extremely high, and is one of the most wasteful expenses that one can pay. Whether it's a 15, 20, or 30% interest rate, the amount that a person pays in interest on credit card debt can easily multiply their debt in a frighteningly short span of time. This is why they grasp the importance of planning ahead and budgeting, to ensure that they can pay off their credit cards in full each month. Furthermore, they understand that paying off their credit cards in full each month helps them to maintain a good credit score, which can be beneficial in numerous ways. So even though it may mean sacrificing some purchases, or deferring them until they have enough saved up to pay in cash, avoiding the massive interest payments that are attached to credit card debt is a common habit among wealthy people. Because it's a simple fact that the more you can pay down of your debts, the more your money works for you instead of the bank. Number 4. Paying bank fees. Speaking of banks, let's face it, they don't provide services out of the goodness of their hearts. Like any other corporate entity, they are in the business of making money, and one of their favorite sources of this is fees. And although banks may offer a variety of accounts and financial products, with varying levels of benefits and amenities, these tend to come with fees attached. Wealthy people do not pay these fees if they can help it, because in many cases, it's just money down the drain. They try to make sure that they are taking advantage of any free services offered by their bank, such as paperless statements, online transfers, and bill pay. And by being careful and ensuring that they automate their finances and payments, they avoid paying overdraft fees on their checking accounts, or late payment fees on their credit cards. It's all about maximizing the benefit of banks, which is to provide financing and payments when needed, and to not give money away cheaply. Number 5. Obsessively following trends and fads. No doubt, trends can be cool and interesting. It can be fun to participate in the latest trending fashion or gadgets. But rich people tend to avoid the temptation to follow the latest and hottest trends and fads. Not just because they can be expensive, but because they understand the fact that they are temporary. By definition, trends and fads cycle in and out constantly, and people who follow them are often left with clothing or items that they don't know what to do with. Fidget spinners, anyone? Instead of following the next trend, which will become outdated sooner rather than later. Rich people find value in items that will serve their purposes for a long time to come. It may sound a bit on the boring side, but as the rich can attest to, it's a boring habit that will lead to a better financial future. Number 6. Eating out frequently. Eating out is something that many people do pretty often, as it can be a convenient and enjoyable way to have a meal. Of course, the rich do eat out as well, but they do so sparingly. Instead, they favor the habit of preparing food at home. The reason for this is that they understand the costs that are involved with running a restaurant. They know that far beyond the cost of the food itself, restaurants have to cover the costs of operating, including employee wages, taxes, fees imposed by the city or county, marketing, etc. As a result, as often as possible, rich people find ways to prepare their food at home. Not only does this save them money, but it also helps them to eat healthier, as they have more control over the ingredients in their meals. This can give them more time and flexibility to prepare meals that better suit their health and dietary needs. Number 7. Purchasing luxury brands and items. Luxury in general can be extremely expensive, and although these items might seem desirable, they aren't necessarily worth the cost. While some items that carry a luxury brand are indeed top-quality products, others are simply overpriced. A $50 pair of shoes is probably just as good as a $500 equivalent. Rich people understand that in many cases, the brand name is what is driving the price up. And they avoid this financial trap by not giving brand names more credit than they deserve. It simply doesn't make sense to overpay, which is something that the rich are constantly looking to avoid. They find high-quality products and services that do the job well, and they stick with those items, rather than wasting money on name brands. Number 8. Purchasing add-ons. Add-on purchases are those that add to the cost of the main item that you are buying, such as extended warranties, extra features and accessories. Rich people are ruthless about getting only the essentials, and tend to avoid these add-on purchases, because they are often wastes of money, and can add up over time. This includes things like extra sides and snacks when eating out, or additional choices when shopping. You'll probably recognize that this is especially common when shopping online. Almost every e-commerce website out there will offer add-ons at the checkout page, often with discounts. But these add-ons often are used as tactics to entice you to spend more money. The rich know to avoid falling for these tricks, which tries to prey on the impulsive shopping behavior of many people. Number 9. Renting storage units. The wealthy tend to be pretty clear about their goals and objectives, and they understand the importance of keeping things simple. They realize that the things they don't use on a daily basis are actually getting in the way, rather than helping them to thrive. As a result, they are constantly looking for ways to get rid of things they don't regularly use, by either giving them away or selling them. The rich certainly don't pay to store things they don't use. They realize that by getting rid of these possessions sooner rather than later, they can free up physical space, as well as clear their minds by having a clean, tidy home and workspace. Check out these videos next, on the best tips and tricks to help you save better.